Getting it wrong has never felt so right. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the funniest mistranslations in video games. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we'll be looking at botched attempts to translate something from one language to another that inadvertently led to hilarity. To be clear, these need to be the result of a mistranslation, as we've already done a list of just plain bad video game lines, though there will probably be some overlap. Number 10, Conglaturation, Ghostbusters. Movie tie-in games are almost always terrible, and this is especially true when the game is mistranslated. The NES Ghostbusters game is actually a Japanese port of a Commodore 64 and Atari game developed by an American company called Activision. Maybe you've heard of them, albeit with worse graphics, controls, and this infamous mistranslated title card. Besides the English headline, the ending also makes the debatable assertion that the player has completed a great game, proved the justice of our culture, and that they should go and rest our heroes. Who are you gonna call next time? A better translator. Number 9, don't underestimate the power of Dolphin, Aero Fighters 2. This entry from Aero Fighters 2, an arcade and Neo Geo shoot-'em-up, is funny for a lot of reasons, and it's not just the poor grammar. As far as the mistranslation goes, there's probably a participle missing in there somewhere, and the word dolphin should be plural. However, the sheer fact that this quote is said by an anthropomorphic dolphin fighter named Spanky, or Whitey depending on your translation, juxtaposed against an image of a map exploding is pretty frickin' ridiculous. This is the kind of imagery that allows this entry to transcend to silliness to become kinda special. Number 8, Bimmy and Jimmy, Double Dragon 3, The Sacred Stones. Whoever mistranslated this must have had an alliteration on the brain. When starting a 2-player game in Double Dragon 3, the story text labels the protagonists not as Billy and Jimmy, but as Bimmy and Jimmy instead. Although the error only appears in 2-player game mode, it became well known enough that it was incorporated into a later game in the franchise. Double Dragon Neo features a boss called Bimmy and Jammy, who are demented burly versions of Billy and Jimmy, appropriately nicknamed the mistranslated mutants. Not every franchise can laugh at their mistakes along with their fans, so we gotta tip our hats to Double Dragon. Number 7, your winner, Big Rigs Over the Road Racing. There is plenty wrong with Big Rigs, from poor physics, controls, bugs galore, but for now we'll stick to talking about its poor translations, among which our next entry is the most infamous. Upon completing a race, or sometimes even before due to a bug, the text, "Your winner," will be displayed along with a trophy that has not 2 but 3 handles, which makes it 50% better, naturally. The game's abysmal grasp of English grammar, along with its other problems, was likely the result of its development being outsourced to Ukraine in order to cut costs. A move that may have saved some money, but not their reputation. Number 6, Welcome to Die, XMen. This quarter-devouring arcade game is fondly remembered for its simple and fun beat-em-up gameplay, but also for its poorly translated dialogue, which, unlike the majority of our entries, was actually voiced. While there are several other notable funny quotes, such as,
"I am Magneto, master of magnet."
Our pick has to go to this mistranslated declaration made by several bosses in the game, but most notably by Magneto before the fight with Wendigo. The quote has become a tongue-in-cheek favorite of video gamers and X-Men fans alike, and it's even referenced by Deadpool in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 when he fights Magneto.
Magneto, welcome to die!
Number 5, I Feel Asleep, Metal Gear. The Metal Gear series is known for having some pretty goofy stuff in it, despite its nominally realistic setting, and its first game was definitely no exception. Metal Gear, for the original Nintendo Entertainment System, featured some pretty terrible translations, such as "Contact Missing Our Gray Fox," and several others. But our pick was this one, which occurs early on in the game and only on the second screen. A guard states first that he's getting sleepy and then that he feels asleep. Besides being a funny misspelling or grammar mistake, the fact that the man says anything at all while being proposedly asleep, and standing up is pretty damn funny too. Number 4, your fists of evil are about to meet my steel wall of niceness. Fatal Fury Special. Fighting games aren't exactly known for a bounty of text to translate, so when what little of it there is gets butchered, we gotta scratch our heads. But this quote did get lost in translation, and it's fortunate because it is one silly-ass taunt. Displayed when using Geese Howard against Tung Fu Ru, this quote is apparently a mistranslation of the kind of ancient wisdom usually associated with old martial arts masters like Tung. From Tung's presupposition that the challenger is a bad person, to the imagery he weaves of villainous hands, and comparing himself to a metal wall composed of friendliness, this entry is just a perfect storm of greatness. Number 3, you Spoony Bard, Final Fantasy IV. This comical, nonsensical insult is used during a serious moment in the game, and is believed to be either a poor translation or possibly done as censorship, since the original line was roughly the Japanese equivalent of calling someone a bastard or a son of a bitch. Calling someone a Spoony Bard remains a popular insult among the gaming community, both for video games and more traditional role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons. Final Fantasy IV has been re-released many times, and due to the goofy term's popularity, it has been retained in the newer iterations of the game. Mistake or not, it's part of Final Fantasy history now, so fans can treasure it to this day. Number 2, I Am Errol, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. A little on the nose, wouldn't you think? In this Zelda sequel, Link encounters a townsperson whose only dialogue is to state his most erroneous moniker. Fans of the series and video games in general are well acquainted with the famous error, and much debate has been over what the intended translation was. Is it simply the result of the Japanese alphabet lacking the L sound, making his real name Errol? There's even evidence to suggest that this may have been intentional, since there is another NPC named Bagu, the phonetic Japanese pronunciation for bug. Whatever the answer, this is one of the only errors on our list to introduce itself quite so literally. Number 1, all your base are belong to us, Zero Wing.
All your base are belong to us.
Could it be anything else? Come on. This phrase, along with the rest of the hilariously broken dialogue that makes up the intro to this game's European release, has been a viral internet meme for ages. Mostly thanks to the incredibly catchy techno remix and the Something Awful forums.
All your base, all your base are belong to us.
Every line, from "somebody set us up the bomb" to "for great justice," is definitely memorable, utterly wrong, and extremely entertaining. Whatever future mistranslations may happen down the line, they'll have to be pretty terrible to make us forget about this masterpiece of accidental video game humor.
All your base, all your base are belong to us.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.